Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Vera Riana from class A in the 6th semester. I will explain about the book Introduction Course Design in English for Specific Purposes. Chapter 1, Overview of English for Specific Purposes. This chapter aims to provide a foundation in the major issues in English for specific purposes, which underpin current thinking in ESP curriculum and course design. ESP theorizing is informed by teaching and learning context, with curriculum and course design at its core. What is ESP? ESP may be considered as an approach to course design and teaching that targets groups of learners who have a common goals or purpose in learning English. This may be an educational or occupational focus. The single most defining feature of ESP courses is that they are based on the analysis of learner needs. Daily events and John refer to the absolute and variable characteristic of ESP. The absolute characteristic of ESP course are: the first, designed to meet the needs of the learner; 2, make use of the methodology and activities of the disciplines it serves; 3, the third, centered on the language, skills, and genres appropriate to these disciplines. ESP is sometimes contrasted with to English for general purposes. Next, Chapter 2, Need Analysis and ESP Course Design. Need analysis is the backbone of ESP course design. This chapter aims to provide an up-to-date overview of current thinking in needs analysis and relation to course design and guidance on how to conduct an appropriate need analysis. Defining needs analysis. Need analysis is the first step in the course design cycle in ESP and refers to the systematic analysis of what learners need in order to operate in the target communicative situation. Methodologies used in collected data about needs. Information about learner needs can be collected using quantitative methods, such as questionnaires, language audits, and language tests, and or qualitative methods, such as interview, observation, and discourse analysis. Traditionally, data is collected from stakeholders from using questionnaires. Typically, a single questionnaire is given to the sponsor and the intended students. The data is then analyzed according to frequency. Setting of need analysis. The setting of an ESP course influences needs analysis and subsequent course design. In an academic setting, the focus of ESP tends to be on skills. Reading and writing are often highlighted as these are the major vehicles for the transmission of information and for academic assessment in the target situation. The learner and analysis and its analysis, it seems only common sense to place the learner at the center of any needs analysis. Such analysis should take into consideration the learner's likes and present situation and target situation communication needs. However, learners are not always aware of their needs. In this chapter, the role of needs analysis in ESP has been discussed. The chapter has covered the emergence of need analysis in ESP in the last century. which focused on purely linguistic needs and viewed ESP as essentially neutral to current thinking, which considers a range of learner needs and a critical perspective on those needs. Then chapter T about language and skills in English for specific purposes. This chapter addresses language and skills in designing an ESP course. This chapter introduces the role of the following language areas in ESP course design: the first grammar, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Specificity of content and language. The next important issue that needs to be addressed in relation to the treatment of language in ESP course design is one of specificity. In English specific purposes, specificity can refer to language and to content. In terms of language, the course designer needs to consider to what extent particular examples of language in the ESP discipline are unique to the field and to what extent particular forms are generic across all areas. Next is about ESP and grammar. In English grammar course, there is generally an emphasis on grammar, this typically being one of the major sequencing themes in the syllabus. Traditionally, grammar focuses on syntax, tense, and aspect, and syllabus usually begin with the simplest forms of these and continue through the most complex. For example, from the verb to be and the simple present tense to the use of gerunds. The assumption is that the learners acquire the structures in this fashion. Then chapter 4, vocabulary and English for specific purposes. The area of vocabulary has received more attention within ESP in recent years due to the availability of large-scale corpora and user-friendly text analyzing software. This chapter addresses the nature of ESP vocabulary and the role it plays in course design. What is ESP vocabulary? There is a range of terms used to talk about the types of ESP vocabulary, reflecting the degree of specialization. English specific purposes vocabulary might be classified in three main types. The first type is technical vocabulary, also called specialist or specialist vocabulary. This refers to vocabulary specific to the discipline and not widely used or understood outside this area. The second type is a technical vocabulary, also called sub-technical vocabulary. This refers to terms commonly used in this discipline which might have a specific use or meaning. The third type is general vocabulary, common everyday vocabulary necessary for any communication in the language. And next, chapter 5, teaching English for specific purposes. This chapter deals with pedagogical issue of teaching English specific purposes. It addresses the expected qualities of ESP teachers, often referred to as ESP practitioners, and discusses the issue of specialist subject knowledge in teaching ESP. This chapter has addressed some of the issue in teaching ESP. It has identified the major difference between English grammar teacher and English specific purposes practitioner and discussed some of the roles of an ESP practitioner. These roles are linked to issue in course design, and the course design cycle has been present. Next, chapter 6, learning English for specific purposes. This chapter considers ESP from a learning perspective. Its focus is therefore on ESP learners and their characteristics. The chapter also presents some further discussion on common types of ESP course from a learning perspective. The following areas are covered: general feature of ESP learning, different types of EAP, different types of EBP, legal English, medical English, role of learners, Learners issue in ESP. There are many differences between learners in EFL and ESP. Next, chapter 7, Technology and English for Specific Purposes. One area in ESP that has witnessed a great change over recent years is the use of technology. The internet, social media, and digital technologies have had a massive influence on business, workplaces, and education. These technologies need to be utilized and reflected in ESP course design, research, and management. However, it should be acknowledged that technology developed so rapidly that any discussion of the area will probably be redundant within 5 years. This chapter addresses the following areas in the role of technology in ESP: technology and changing modes of communication, technology and pedagogy, technology and course management, technology and assessment constraints of technology. This chapter has considered some implications of technologies on ESP course design. It has identified its major use within the field and provided some starting points for discussion of the impact of the digital age on ESP and on teaching the learning in a broader sense. The last is chapter 8, assessment about assessment of English for specific purposes. This chapter addresses the essential element of assessment and evaluation in course design. This includes formal assessment such as high-stakes EAP tests like TOEFL and ELTS, and business English tests like the Cambridge Business English Certificates. The chapter also addresses less formal classroom assessment and includes guidelines for conducting some more formative types of English-specific purposes assessment. Assessment relevant to ESP course, a primary concern for a course designer in English-specific purposes assessment is alignment. Alignment refers to the extent to which the assessment text accurately reflects the content and learning objective of the course and the target communicative situation. In language assessment, a distinction is made between direct and indirect testing. Types of ESP assessment. Think of some possible assessment texts for the following common types of assessment in ESP. Think of the students, the purpose of the assessment text, the nature of the assessment text, and how the result can be reported. Diagnostic test, entry test, exit test, progress test, achievement test. Assessment occurs at a number of levels of English-specific purposes course design, from the classroom level, ensuring lesson aims are achieved, to the course level, assessing whether the student has attained the required level. Okay, that's all my explanation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.